Every anime fan swears they know the strongest power out there until you put 5 side by side. A puppet master who turns men into strings. A swordsman who cuts through steel on will alone. A false god who mistakes lightning for divinity. A hunter who rewrites his own stats overnight. A boy cursed to die again just to survive one more day. 5 powers, 5 universes, 1 impossible question. Which one deserves the crown?
You're not going to find a more terrifying, flamboyant psychopath than the former heavenly yaksha and underworld broker, Don Quixote do Flamingo. He's a former world noble who lost his status and became a king, and everyone who crossed his path is just a string waiting to be pulled. So it's only right he rocks the Ito Ito no Mi, the string fruit. And today, we're going to give this power a grade ranging from A to F. But you know the drill. We break down the insane power and then the user. Now this fruit is absolutely incredible because it gives you control over razor thin, unbelievably durable strings. We're talking about strings that are so sharp they can slice through steel, stone, and even the leg of a giant with 0 effort. The basic ability, Parasite, is pure mind control. Doflamingo can attach a string to your spine and make you dance, fight, or even kill your own allies against your will. He can control dozens of people at once, which is why he was able to take over an entire nation. But the versatility doesn't stop there, because Doflamingo can use his strings for nearly anything. He can fly by attaching them to clouds using Sora no Michi. He can compress them into a perfect clone of himself, the Black Knight, that can fight just as well as he can. And in one of the most disgusting flexes we've ever seen, he can use them to stitch his own internal organs back together after they've been pulverized. That's essentially a self-healing factor built into a fruit, which is absolutely mind-blowing. But the final level of power comes from the Awakening, where he can turn the surrounding environment, including buildings, ground, I'm talking everything, into a weapon by creating massive string attacks like Billow White. On top of that, he has the Torikago, the bird cage, which is an inescapable, razor-sharp dome that can cut an entire island to shreds. This gives the user a breathtaking array of attacks and defenses. But a fruit is only as good as its user, and Doflamingo is a master. First, he mastered ornament hockey and infused it into the strings, allowing him to cut Logia users like Smoker. He's a master puppeteer and a strategist who achieved the rare feat of a Paramecia Awakening. However, his biggest weakness is his massive, unshakable arrogance. He was so confident in his power that he never expected an attack like Law's Gamma Knife, forcing him to use his stitching ability just to survive. And while the birdcage is terrifying, it could be stalled and resisted by physical brute force from the citizens and the Navy. The strings are strong but not unbreakable. Luffy's Gear 4 was able to snap the parasitic strings right off him, proving that the fruit is vulnerable to overwhelming strength. Plus, his ability to fly is dependent on clouds being in the sky, a tiny environmental flaw that Law pointed out. So when it comes to giving this devil fruit a final grade, we have to look at the whole picture. It's an S-tier concept with incredible versatility and a rare awakening. But its dependence on the environment for mobility, the fact that the birdcage can be stalled, and its vulnerability to sheer brute force keeps it from the top spot. So I'm going to give the Ito Ito no Mi a grade that reflects its near-perfect mastery, but its few exploitable flaws, and that grade is a B+.
Zoro is the right-hand man of Monkey D. Luffy, and his name is well-renowned in One Piece, due to his insane strength, elite-level swordsmanship, and crazy haki. So it's only right we finally give his power a grade ranging from A to F. And like always, we evaluate the ability and then the person. Now Zoro, from the very beginning, has been utilizing 3 swords, which immediately gives him an upper hand in hand-to-hand combat. But commonly overlooked is the fact that he is a master of the 1-sword and 2-sword style, which means he always has an advantage no matter how many he has. Also, due to constant training, he has gained superhuman strength in both his legs and arms. So trying to go into the air to avoid him means absolutely nothing because he can pursue you regardless. And for tougher enemies, he can command his muscles to grow and give himself a boost of physical strength. Zoro also has the ability to move at very high speeds, and this alone has been known to overwhelm his opponents. And in some cases, the fight is over before it even starts. Now Zoro does not have any special healing factor, but he is able to take extreme levels of pain and damage, which makes him almost impossible to beat because he never stays down. But all that means nothing when it comes to his expert level Haki control. And this was on full display during his battle with King, as Zoro was able to pump his own energy into his swords, giving them even more destructive power. And the icing on the cake is his Conqueror Haki, which puts him in the top 10 strongest people list in One Piece. But all that power is only as good as the user. And Zoro is probably the most battle-tested, due to his captain dragging him into fight after fight. But one of the most overlooked skills that he has is the ability to gauge his opponent's strength and to quickly analyze how to neutralize the threat. So with that being the case, I'm going to give his power scale grade an A+, because he is strong enough to become king of the pirates himself if he had the right crew. And with his unwavering loyalty, this is definitely a right-hand man that anyone would want.
You won't find a more arrogant, self-proclaimed, divine being than the former god of Skypia, NL. He blew up his own homeland just to prove a point, and all he wants is fear and worship. So it's only right he wields the legendary Goru Goru no Mi, the Rumble Rumble fruit, and I'm going to give it a grade that reflects its true power, ranging from A to F. But like always, we break down the power and then the user. Now this fruit is a Logia that lets you create, control, and literally become lightning itself. You're a living bolt of electricity, moving at the speed of a thunderclap. The raw power alone allows you to unleash up to 200 million volts. That's enough power to vaporize nearly anyone he touches, or to strike them down from miles away with attacks like El Thor or Mama Ragen. But the real genius of this fruit isn't just the destruction, it's the versatility. You can travel through conductive materials like gold, or soar through the sky by merging with thunderclouds. This makes you untouchable and grants you god-tier mobility. And get this, if someone manages to stop your heart, like Wiper did with his reject dial, you can just shock yourself back to life. You're literally your own defibrillator. The fruit makes you nearly impossible to kill. Plus NL used this power to enhance his observation Haki, letting him read electrical waves across all of Skypia, giving him the ability to listen to conversations or know your location. But a fruit is only as good as its user, and our boy is a certified demon. Not only did he master his Logia intangibility, but he also had the expertise to build a giant flying arc called the Maxim to take him to the moon. He even figured out how to use lightning to melt and reshape gold into weapons like his trident, which is a next level application of Devil Fruit power. Also, he was a master strategist, using his enhanced power to predict and eliminate threats before they even knew they were being watched. Now his biggest weakness is the one everyone talks about, the Rubber Man, Luffy. Because rubber is an insulator, the Haki-less Luffy could bypass his intangibility and was completely immune to his main attack. This is the ultimate rock, paper, scissors counter, and it threw NL into a panic. His arrogance, fueled by the power of the Goro Goro no Mi, meant he never saw a counter coming from the Blue Sea. That overconfidence is what let Luffy land the final golden punch. But let's be real, that counter is a 1 in a million scenario. Against literally everyone in the One Piece world who doesn't have a specific rubber body or top-tier ornament Haki, this fruit is unbeatable. The speed, the destructive potential, the self-resuscitation, and the sheer scale of his awakened attacks like Raigo are simply unmatched. So when it comes to giving this devil fruit a final grade, I'm not going to lie, it's a perfect A+. In Hunter Society, rank is supposed to be permanent. You're born E rank or you're born S rank, and that's the ceiling for the rest of your career, no exceptions. Sung Jinwoo broke that rule completely. A man who once got so weak he crumbled on the floor of a D-rank dungeon, crying, begging not to die there, is now the one name every S-rank hunter in the country says quietly. E-ranks don't out-level national hunters. They don't raise armies out of the exact monsters that nearly killed them. So how does the weakest hunter in Korea end up rewriting what a hunter is even capable of? So it's only right we give Sung Jinwoo a grade ranging from A to F. And like always, we evaluate the ability and then the person. Now Jinwoo started as an E-rank hunter, which in the hunter world is basically a walking liability, the guy other hunters roll their eyes at on the job. But the double dungeon changed everything. He survived an impossible trial that should have killed every hunter in that room, and it left him with a system only he can see. One that lets him level up like he's in a game, while everyone else is stuck with whatever power they were born with. From there, the real terror kicks in. Arise. Jinwoo can raise the strongest enemies he defeats as loyal shadow soldiers, meaning every boss he kills doesn't just die, it joins his army. This is how a knight statue that once nearly ended him became one of his most loyal soldiers, and how the Ant King Beru, one of the most vicious things he's ever fought, ended up bowing to him as his general. He's also got assassin tier stealth and dagger work, vanishing and repositioning faster than enemies can track. Then there's Kamish's Wrath, a dragon fear ability he earned after taking down one of the strongest dragons alive, and it hits like the entire Hunter Association combined. And when his true nature as a monarch starts surfacing, we start seeing Ruler's authority. Pure telekinetic force that lets him crush, throw, and control the battlefield without even touching it. But a power's only as good as the person wielding it. And Jinwoo isn't some chosen one who got lucky. He's a guy who almost died and came out the other side obsessed with never being powerless again. That obsession shows up as calculation, not just muscle. When Beru refuses to bow after Jinwoo beats him half to death, Jinwoo doesn't force it. He reads exactly what a monster like that respects and breaks him physically, turning his strongest enemy into a loyal general without needing a second fight. And when the people he loves become targets, he doesn't wait to react. He has shadow soldiers already stationed to protect his mother and sister before the threat ever shows up, because that D-rank dungeon taught him hesitation is what gets people killed. So here's the real metric: family, growth rate versus actual battle experience. Jinwoo went from fodder to apex faster than anyone else in his world, and that's exactly where the cracks show up. Most of his wins come from stats and shadow soldiers doing the heavy lifting, not years of hard-earned combat instinct, which means we genuinely don't know how he handles an opponent who can match his level with real experience behind it, instead of just raw numbers. That gap is the one thing holding this grade back. Given all of that, I'm giving Sung Jinwoo an A-.
What if your main power came loaded with pain and suffering, and the world you got dropped in is full of nothing but cold-blooded assassins? Well, that's exactly the situation for Natsuke Subaru, and we're grading him based on his abilities and street smarts. But like always, we start with the power, then the person. And best believe the final grade is a shocker. So let's start with Return by Death. On paper, this thing sounds absolutely broken. No limit on uses. Instant reset to a save point the moment he dies. You're basically unkillable. But here's the part people are sleeping on. Every single death is full of pain, full of trauma, and Subaru experiences all of it. Getting stabbed, getting eaten alive by the Great Rabbit, getting his heart crushed, he feels every last second of it. And he can't tell a soul. The moment he tries to explain his ability, the Witch of Envy reaches through reality and squeezes his heart like my ex-girlfriend. So he's carrying all of that completely alone, every loop with no way out. Now the reason Return by Death is actually dangerous isn't the reset itself. It's what he does with that information. Future recollection is the real cheat code here, because every loop he runs gives him intel on how his enemies move, where the traps are, and how allies behave under pressure. That's how an average guy with no combat ability walked into this world and helped orchestrate the takedown of the White Whale and the Sin Archbishop of Sloth. He's not out fighting anybody. He's out thinking everyone because he's already seen how it ends. Now the authority of Sloth, or Invisible Providence, is one invisible hand he can extend from his chest and phase straight through matter. Sounds decent, right? It's not. Every time he activates it, his organs feel like they're being carved up from the inside. He's coughing up blood, and there are times where he blacks out for 2 full days. One hand against Petalgeese's 100. The gap is massive, but Subaru still uses it because that's who he is. Then you've got the Spirit Affinity, which is a rare natural gift most people in this world don't have. And his contract with Beatrice unlocks yin magic for him. But Beatrice mana consumption is so brutal they can't cast freely. And on top of that, Subaru's gate is completely broken now. He can't generate or expel mana on his own at all. Every spell runs entirely through her. Shamak wipes out spatial awareness across a wide area. Murak cuts gravity for mobility and combo setups. And EMM is a full defensive barrier that completely stops outside interference. Creative toolkit, but none of it works without Beatrice standing right there. And then there's the user. Former shut-in, above average athlete, basic kendo background, parkour, and a whip. Physically, my boy is bottom 5 in the entire cast. The author confirmed it. But his deductive mind and loop knowledge make him a general level threat, who united multiple royal camps against the witch cult. That's not a fighter, that's a commander. But even with all that, the trauma to power ratio is what seals his grade. Now that power set is genuinely broken on paper, but return by death cost him his sanity every single loop. Invisible Providence tears his own body apart, and he can't talk about it to anyone. So that's why my boy Subaru lands an impressive A-. Now click on that video right there to see another one of your favorite characters graded, and I will see you on the next one.